I can't let anybody forget about this. This damn flying whale in space with the skyline. I don't even know what this is, but I love
Purple
it.
Earth.
And I think it's great. Hello, my friends. I have a pimple on the end of my nose. Isn't it glorious? I brushed my hair, my wild and crazy hair, so it doesn't look so wild. Even the beard, a little bit put together to some degree, right? Yes? No? What are we what are we being bothered with now? I want to read my cards to see what's in the near and upcoming future. Because I text some people about some work. I said, if you need help, consider me. Please. Damn it. I don't want to be homeless. Lowered some prices on some of my stuff. On my ads for Craigslist. Now I'm going to read this. And after that, I may get back into the symbols. There's a lot of people that were not subscribers when I was doing the readings from the Archetype Symbols book. And I still find them so useful. So useful. You can even find God Mind here on my floor because I opened my mouth and it fell out. I opened my mouth too much and my God Mind fell out on the floor. I was feeling a little bit dismayed, and now I've shown you I'll feel it some more. Pay attention, don't make a mistake. Yes, we must always do this. Bitching about my poor life and my shower where I must take piss. Because I can't flush my toilet. I can rinse it down. Are you ready? Alright, the method that I use used to vibrate the Elohim name, but now it will just say fire, water, air, earth, and restack them. Because I'm not worshiping you, Yahweh. Not if you're an asshole. Let's clear the area a bit for the energies. Nice. Do it over myself too. I like these. Dust in my area. These nice fine feathers. Brought to you by the feathers of birds flying up over my fucking head. Now, is there a way to do this easier? No. I could turn it upside down, perhaps. Frankly, I just don't know. I don't know how to do this. We'll figure it out, though. This is the significator, and it's the Fool, which that means it's all opened up. Now I'm going to put them upside down so you can read because I'm looking at it do that, and I kind of like that. This, I'm fucking up. I should put these. Wait, am I fucking up? No, I'm not. I'm tripping. This is the High Priestess is the intuitive veil. I have that open. That's why I'm doing this like I'm doing it. And no, I don't read the upside down cards. I consider the energy, if it's blocked, to be the upside down, and I read it as an open energy channel through the spirit, the four elements, and then the subsets, the elements that are touching the individuals around the reading, and then a passive and active card depending upon what choices I take considering this read. So for the earth, the passion, I do have the passion for the earth. I have the passion for the earth to have the choices of life in the earth, not to be fucked off. And you can imagine. Now I'm having to do this upside down, so that's why it's not going the other way. For emotion, we have the lovers. Can you believe that? Yes, emotionally, I would like to have the lovers, an open path for me. But fortunately for me, also, I had the recent experience of having an opening by just falling in love again with the woman I married, the mother of my children, even to my own perception. That's why on the earth I have the wizard, the magician, which is a choice of mastery, going down the path with like the tools to do that path. And I love that. That's what I would be trying. That's ultimately what I'm going for. This is the mind of those around me or in my area that's connected to the air and the mind. And it's the sun, which is good because that shows a light which corresponds with this very lunar symbol here, and it's counterbalanced. So that shows me that's good because I need that intuition to be strongly coming from somewhere, not just a little nuanced stuff. This is like a restoration of the principle of your belief being plugged in through the high priest into however you've got the view of things. Obviously, in the eyes of the high priest, certain activities would be changed into other activities or other versions of their self. It'd be like you could have a war, but when you add the high priest, you have a crusade. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is strength, and this is what I feel good about because strength being the connected to the emotion that I said I recently tied back in my love to having that experience of falling back in love with that person, but like with the soul of that person, so that I can honor where they are and what they choose to do without having the necessity of the person to have their body as an influence to me. It's not a desire for their body, it is a love for their soul. Sure, the body would be great. Yes, that would always be wonderful. That would be a miracle in my life, despite even what I've experienced, the opportunity to try to be the better me, not falling for dumb shit and just loving someone. If you think I don't want that or I'm wiser and bigger than that, you are wrong. I want a genuine path for love to come through my life, so much so that it has to be transformed for me to have access to my wizard. It has to be transformed by this hardcore of death. That's why I think of my experiences with the transformation scorpion alchemy, trying to get that eagle from that scorpion sting, from that poison, make it a power. This is why I believe strongly that this is a good sign, at least for me, which I haven't had any of those, mind you, in my life, not recently. Now, if I'm passive and wait, I get the indication of the chariot. That makes me feel that like if I were to get my car and trade it or get it fixed where I could drive it, the chariot would be activated for me because that's really all that's holding me back. In one area is the fact I can't travel. I don't have the means to do that yet. Doesn't mean I'm not trying to or I won't, but I have to work with what I work with. Now, if I overextend into the positive and have this emperor is a constituting respect, leadership, stability within the structure, that would be in the future for me. My path would be to be passively considering this and remaining open under this configuration. It means I can remain open, continue to process and transform the love that I've recently renewed as it shut out a lot of negative areas in my life and in my spirit. I really had a negative experience from this troubled bad marriage, former relationship that I had with my ex. It was a very bitter experience for me. And as hard as it was for me to stay in the right context to love, a lot had to happen before I could actually accept the terms to that and not be actually self-destructing most of the time, trying to hold it in. The bitterness and the pain had gone past red line. But when I had the experience of my father coming through after he died and giving me the blessing that he never gave me in life, I re-experienced a memory I had in here where I had this lady bring her son over who was way past his manhood ritual, and she was like a witch, and he almost seized up, but I took him to the river and I did the rite of manhood for him so he could be connected with his self and God as a man, come back up. Then right here, he had a fucking seizure, fell on his face, but he didn't have a wound. It was a miracle because he was kind of a big boy. Falling right here, he just seized up. And that's why I saw him doing like this a little bit. So I took him. I went down there below, brought him up. With every step he came up, and it's hard to come up from that underworld. But my dad told me, restore, give the credit to this woman, this part of your soul that you love. Don't abase her. Give her the honor and the credit so that this time where I'm not getting to do this for my children, she would be actually able to do this through contractual act. Now, another piece of that puzzle was the fact that when I got to see my mother die, and I didn't get this till just recently, but when I saw my mother die, I was actually dead set against going to participate in another funeral and or death. My mother wasn't going to come out of a coma or whatever. She had 106 fever. She seized up, was unconscious on life support at the hospital, and I didn't want to go and fucking actually have to experience that. But while I was on the phone with that girl, the girl I married and that I love, and that I had to have this awakening of love for their soul, she said, I want to hold your hand. And I said, that's my mom. I've got to go. And I went and I held the hand of my mother and then left and came back here, and they took her off of life support and she died. And rather than be a man and honor the girl that I married, I said, my mom must have used a hole in her aura, and like my mom, and it scared her. She was freaked out by an experience that my being a prick could have dispelled and made the beautiful gift that it was, and I didn't do that. And it created a big breach in my life because that woman disappeared for 7 years. And I just recently realized that it was on that actual fact of that event. You know how shitty I felt? And then I had an experience of seeing this beam of family and souls around the earth where they're holding hands. And that's how I knew, because it may have happened when I was a very little kid that I saw this image, but next to me, I was holding my mom's hand. So her saying she wanted to hold my hand, me putting it with my mom and going and doing it, when I forgot that experience, I forgot all that. Well, I forgot that too. But the experience I had so further back when I was young, when I remembered that experience, and it was like I could go back, they were telling me, you dishonored her. You didn't honor her. You can't partake of this. This is all of us. And I understood. And I don't know why that was my experience that got me there, because there's a lot of subjective and objective themes, clearly. But all of this basically did occur for me. The miracle, it happened in here physically, right here. And all these things tied together because of how they were part of like a pre-incarnated contract. I actually saw, when crying to Jesus, my own self taken to some place where the Akashic records were, and the Lord, Jesus Christ, Essa, is showing me, he's like, look, y'all made this agreement before you were even born. And I could see the way that we were configured, like, against each other. Like, I was behind her, holding her, and she was like, you know, how a man and a woman could be, just embracing. Not in a sexual embrace, but in a meaningful, social, in front of everyone embrace. It was the love we had in the form of an embrace. That's all I got. Periodically, I've had times where, well, one time, let me tell you what happened to me one time. I really felt like I was being bubbled off from being able to have another relationship. And not that even making my love right, which I do inside for the soul of that person that I married and is also married and on her way completely out of my life. Even that in the unconditional love form satisfies more of the possibility for love in my life than any of the belief I need manifestation. I should be able to manifest a path with a partner, you know, even some girl, all of them. It supersedes all of them. And I don't count on that being the way it happens, obviously. I have to also be open to something more honestly possible. But the fact that it reawakened and made me go through the humility of sharing that with her brings me back to that mastery of the wizard, because I don't have that wizard ability without keeping that soul person as an ally or a catalyst to my growth alive, without there being a burnt bridge. Don't burn bridges with people. Come on. If somebody tries to molest you, kill your kid, do some real fucking evil shit, I can understand that. But I implore you, even though It may be your right to burn the bridge, to let the higher self or God do with that something better by just leaving it alone, if nothing else. Let God have your problems like that. He can rebuild pathways and beautiful things if you'll just keep your fucking eye on that relationship between you, higher self as God, and it, because it's inside of you first. But you're not here so it just stays inside of you. You're here to bring it out. And how you do that is a major expression of who you are as a soul. That's your true self. That's the mystery that has to be fucking broken through. The true self is the miracle worker and can be dialogued with, known, embraced, transformed your bullshit ego perception into. That's the gift and the real path that we have that we can take or stay very, very close to and just follow that script as we get it from higher self, because we are participating in a creating our own manifestation and narrative. But we have to keep an eye on also, this isn't about us becoming into groups and having God intervene. This is your journey. This is your sacred hero quest. And don't forget that.